live to go back on the Montavious show. How y'all doing today?
Yo.
Yeah, without Matt today.
Unfortunate.
But oh well, he'll be back.
We had a casualty, and it's representative, like on the chessboard too. There's one of the piece broke.
That's hilarious.
Actually,
who got mad at who and threw it?
No, it was more like like I threw the remote on the table, like I was lazy.
Oh,
you know,
yeah?
and it just.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
so the truth comes out on the podcast. And this is the first I've heard. He didn't tell me how it got broken. He just said it was a casualty, and I
sure told him.
yeah, fuck you, Queen's dead. Man, there was a game. I was on YouTube. Something about playing chess without kings.
Without kings?
Never heard of that.
Yeah. It was. I just saw it, and it looked like. I could be wrong, but it almost looked like they were playing with all pawns. When I saw without kings, I'm going, okay, this is some woke chess game.
Yeah, dude.
I'm like, oh my god, wouldn't that?
That's hilarious.
Wouldn't that be a criminal? I mean, to make a woke chess game
without kings?
Yeah, well, isn't it just
my
checkers?
God.
Aren't you just playing checkers if there's all pawns, right?
I mean, they
Well,
take,
it's not all pawns because you still got the rest of the pieces there. It's just no kings. You just
Why?
have to go for the queen.
Well,
right?
what's the object? Who are you trying to check?
yeah. What's the objective?
Is this
It's
like
the queen, right?
no? It sounds like it's a search and destroy mission. You just kill all of them.
Well, there you go. Until you clear the whole board.
You should know the queen is never, ever the objective.
Well, I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying.
No,
if
no,
the
I'm
king is not there,
Right.
then who's next in the line? It's-
Well, that's just it. It's obviously
that's hilarious.
somebody's woke imagination.
Okay, so what do y'all want to talk about today?
All right, I have one.
Chessboards.
I have one, but first you're gonna have to explain to me what fapping is.
I've
Oh,
never.
vapping.
Fapping, like FAPPING.
I have no idea.
Oh, so because the prompt is how much fapping is too much fapping, and my question was, what is it?
Well,
And,
let's Google it.
None of the three of us know. Where's our executive producer that can look this up? You know?
It's called Google.
Oh, that's why I have the stack of papers, isn't it?
Dude, like I said, these are just random questions from online, so there's no telling what it's about.
Yeah, the rest of them are all like, kind of weird.
I'm up for weird too.
No, we're not.
All right,
we're not going to talk about fapping.
What do you wear to bed? What do you wear to bed, Jerry?
Pajamas. And very comfortable cotton tops.
Okay.
Tank tops and underwear. I want to be as cool as possible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is that cool?
I don't know. It's cool to me.
I cannot wear a shirt to bed, man. I cannot.
Oh,
wear a
really?
shirt.
You
I'll
have to
wear
go
bottoms.
shirtless.
I'll wear bottoms. I'll wear pajamas if it's cool enough. But usually, like shorts or butt naked or whatever, But usually,
Butt naked.
no tops though. No tops.
If I'm having sex, I have to go to sleep butt naked. I don't know why that is.
No, I just
What am I gonna do? Get up and put on clothes?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
You're just going to stay there and stay
that
naked.
don't make. That's like wiping before you poop. That doesn't make no sense, dude.
pretty much when I was married, I slept naked all the time.
All the time, right?
Yeah. When I was married, I slept naked all the time.
Yeah.
It was just,
Yeah.
it was more comfortable. Spooning, everything.
Spoon it.
Seriously, everything.
It
It's just more
skips a
comfortable.
whole
I mean,
step, bro. It skips a whole step.
I'll tell you one thing. I had a girl buy silk underwear one time. Well, silk pajamas one time. I don't like that.
don't?
Why?
It was too slippery in the bed. I felt like I was going to fall out of the bed. Man, you can't sit in one spot without sliding to the other side. You ever
You
tried
said
it?
underwear. Now
I
you're
mean,
talking
okay, I
about
said
sheets.
underwear. I mean, no.
Like pajamas, like
Pajamas, yeah. It was
Yeah,
silk
yeah,
pajamas.
well, they just slip off easier.
No,
I
I
gotta
can't.
tell you,
That's the idea,
I-
right? But you slip off the
It
bed.
feels good. I just can't sleep in it.
You slip off the bed. It's like a Tyler Perry movie.
Yeah, I can't do it.
All right. What is the coolest sound?
The coolest sound, laughter.
Oh.
And my first thought was, in the morning, if you have the windows open and it's like 5-ish, 5:15, the whippoorwills are starting to chirp the morning glories, and
So
you lay in bed and that moisture is in the air, and you hear the birds first thing in the morning. To me, that's like the most amazing sound.
You're a
of all.
nature man. You're an outdoorsman. You want to hear?
No, I enjoy that too, and I enjoy the birds, particularly early in the morning, because that's when they're most talkative.
Yeah.
He and I have talked about this many times. The birds have they have their own schedule and they have their own congress. Actually, they get up at like just before the sun comes up, and then they all gather around and they get to whatever their gripe is, they get it out and they talk about it and they get their plan. You won't hear them much the rest of the day, but about 4:00, 4:30.
Okay, when I used to grow up, I used to have a screen window. I could open the window, and
Yes.
No bugs would get in,
Wasn't
nothing
that
like that.
nice?
So that's when I would say, yeah, that
and
was
the
a good
cicadas
sound.
too. The
So, yeah.
cicadas.
So, but now it's like everything's. I don't have an open window. Everything's closed off, so I can't lay in bed and hear the outside sounds.
Right.
Growing up, I had a bedroom at the back of the house, and it used to be an enclosed porch, and then they put windows in it, and this was a very, very old house built around, I think, 1902, and the back boundary of the house was lilac bushes, and the lilac bushes, I was there about 7 years, but the lilac bushes completely encompassed the property, and when you had the windows open early in the morning and even late at night, but particularly early in the morning, the lilac smell coupled with the birds,
Yeah.
I was about to ask how pungent those lilac bushes were.
they were every bit at the base 4.5 to 5 feet deep into the
So they're
down the property line.
So their privacy screen as
Yes,
well.
privacy screen, and they had to be every bit of 9 to 12 feet, 9 to 10 feet.
Yeah.
They were amazing. They were amazing.
I used to have a honeysuckle. You remember honeysuckles?
Yes.
Those are very sweet smelling.
And they taste
They
good.
taste good, yeah. So I remember I had a bush that was near my house that, man, I could just walk past it and just smell. That is a great smell.
Right. So,
I
how
can
do we
tell
get?
you, lilacs are pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
We got on the sense of smell, starting with the prompt of sound. That's interesting.
Cover the
Well,
senses.
Yeah, your senses. I mean,
Well, yeah, synesthesia. Like, I'm totally a believer in that we all have some form of cross sensory contamination, right? Like, your hearing might be more adept than your smelling, so they might, one might compensate for the other, and they get blurred together. It comes in real handy sometimes in music if you can do that, or it just comes naturally. But
That's one sense I couldn't go without is hearing. There's so much about hearing that I love. Listen to music, listen to people.
right.
It's hearing
There's
is
different
such a
there's different types of hearing loss too. Like
Yeah.
always wondered, like, say you were born without your hearing, right? Like my niece, she was born without hearing. Like, what exactly does she hear? Because it's not like if I had damaged hearing later in life and it was replaced with a constant ringing sound.
Yeah.
Would it be just an absence of sound, or would it be another sound that's
muffled
total
sound or
muffled? Surely it would be a muffled sound, but
because it's not. I don't think when you have hearing loss, it's not a 100% loss.
right.
Well, is it? I don't know. I'm
it's a
assuming.
spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got more questions than I got answers on that note too. Like, so they had a procedure done where she had cochlear implants. I guess installed isn't that sounds a little too cyberpunk. But anyway,
Cybernetic system.
it's cyberpunk, right? But anyway, she has cochlear implants now, as she can hear as long as her battery supply doesn't run out.
Yeah.
But I wonder how it sounds to her. I imagine it sounds something like what I hear in my headphones now that I've got our microphones all mixed.
Yeah.
Or does it sound like we're all robots? I don't know.
I got a guy I can ask that. I should ask him.
Well, see, I could ask her specifically, but A, she's a little bit too young for that. And
How
two,
old is she?
she's 10 or 11. You're making me look
Yeah.
like a bad uncle.
Did you tell me that she used to do sign language with her sister? Or is that somebody else I'm thinking of?
Well, yeah, her little sister, like, they have their own language. It's
Right.
pretty wild, yeah.
So yeah, I got a guy named Chance. I went to go fix his gaming computer.
Uh-huh.
Great computer. But he also games online. So I'm thinking to myself, do you headphones? Do you use certain microphones? I just fix the computer itself.
Right.
But I've always wanted that and wanted to ask him. I'm like,
I'm sure he's got his favorite mic and his favorite headset.
yeah. So I know he has a microphone that he talks into because
Right.
he, like I said, games online. I could get online and hear him play.
Right.
But I never thought about him hearing the games.
Well, there's different options. Like he can
So
have,
is it headphones or does it go through the implants?
he doesn't have to. Like either he could have studio monitors, just like speakers on either.
Yeah.
You know, either way, headphones a monitor, or you could have regular speaker monitors, whichever. But you'll have more feedback. Like right now, if I had these mics cranked up to the level they're at right now, in the other room, we'd have major feedback problems. But now because they're in the headphones only,
Yeah.
there's no feedback because it's closed loop.
Huh.
Because it's not playing back in the
Yeah,
room.
yeah.
Right. If it was playing back through a monitor in the room, we'd get feedback.
I got you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not going to be much of a problem next Thursday
Nah.
setting up.
Well, between the two of us, we'll figure it out.
Right.
Hopefully.
And will we record 2 again, you think?
Yeah.
Well, if we don't work it out, then we won't do it.
No, we're gonna figure out a way
We're
to
gonna
do it.
figure it out. We're gonna figure it out.
Because yeah, I think it's gonna be a cool setup.
Oh yeah, man. I don't want to speak too soon.
Well, look, we can
It
put
kind
it-
of reminds me. You
I'll-
remember like all those spring break specials that MTV used to have, where they're like outside,
Yeah,
with, like
yeah.
the microphone, interviewing a bunch of stupid kids. That's what I had in mind. It's probably not gonna be that cool.
The only reason it can't be like that is because we don't have like mobile cameras.
Right. That's true.
It'll have to be they have to come sit down and we talk to them.
Right, and we can't switch.
So they'll
can't
just have to,
mix.
hey, come grab a seat and let's talk. Or whatever. We'll figure it out. So yeah, I like to put out into the universe.
Sure.
So who knows what's gonna
So
happen. But
we need a video mixer.
yeah, so we're gonna be at the Rusty Nail next week.
Yeah.
So come check us out at the Rusty Nail
Next Thursday night.
next Thursday. Who knows what time? So yeah, if you put stuff out in the universe, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen great. You're gonna have a good time doing it. That's what I
Right.
say. All right, next question.
On that note, if you try to fail and succeed, which have you done?
You both? You succeeded at failing.
Well,
failed-
I try to succeed and I fail. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I'll try to fail on purpose, but that's very rarely, and very rarely does it succeed.
To try to fail and then it doesn't succeed?
Yeah, because it's still a failure because you tried to fail, and so I guess that's the whole point of the prompt, right? 'Cause I used to have a buddy, right, that he just hated like doing the dishes or whatever, so he would just play inept to the point where he convinced his wife that he was just so inept at doing the dishes that she would just do it. And I'm like, well, now she thinks you're inept at everything else, dude. And that's why you're divorced, my guy. And
It's just a dumb thing to do.
that's
anyway.
just a dumb thing, man. And I don't want to be like that, bro.
I hear you.
Yeah, well, I love him to death, but man, that's dumb.
All right, next question. Goofy ass question.
Okay, yeah. Who's your celebrity crush?
Nobody. Okay. I
The
also
flavor of the week.
that's hilarious. Okay, here's the thing. Also, at one point, I wanted to do a podcast. If you could sit down and talk to a celebrity, sit down and act like you're talking to them and ask them questions. Because who knows, they could watch that podcast and reply back to you.
Well, I thought that was understood.
Yeah, so
I
would've-
already assumed that Henry Rollins might just run across this one day and be like, "Who are these fuckers? This guy's stupid." And he's just like, "Man, he's just a bad representation of rock and roll."
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
But I'm
And
pretty
it's-
sure
I
they
just
have-
expect that,
I forgot to look at the Tom.
I had a name pop right to my head.
Who's that?
Jay
I
Leno.
guess I need that.
You know how we are about cars.
Oh yeah, you know. I'd love to have Jay Leno on the show. That'd be cool.
I mean, you think of Jay Leno and the Cars. I mean, I remember Jay Leno obviously way before he was in the Cars. And even then, people were talking about, they joke about the fact that he never cashed a paycheck, that he always saved his money from. Anyway, and then you may have been around when they were going to cancel his show, or they were going to have to fire like half of the crew.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what's it going to take not to have to fire him? And they said, well, it's going to have to take about $10 million out of your pocket, because there is no other money. And he goes, okay, that's fine. Let's keep them all and just take $10 million off my pocket.
I'd love to be able to do
And
that
they
for somebody.
stayed.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to
That
do that.
same crew stayed on the air with Jay for like many, many years after that. And then and that's when he was really starting to collect cars and stuff. He was really kind of getting into it. He has an amazing history, not only with cars. I mean, you've heard about most recently the burn he got from playing with the cars.
Oh yeah.
Man, I've watched him play with that exact car like about 5 or 6 times, because they've been working on it a long time. Because you actually have to fire it. You actually have to start a fire.
Right,
It's
got
a boiler
coal
of
box.
some sort. Yeah, and I mean,
Wow.
it does, no, not a spark, a fire.
Right, it's got a coal box.
Yes,
You got to
yes,
feed coal
yes.
into the boiler.
And of course, they're using the highest octane, the best alcohol, the best gas of everything. And if you know much about alcohol, it can go light on fire and you don't see it.
Just like at the hibachi grill when they're like,
Yes. Yes, that's big time alcohol.
yeah, man.
So what's your question, Monty?
So I was gonna if it was Jay Leno test drove like a jet bike one time, and I remember seeing that. And I was thinking
Like
to myself,
Batman?
yeah, I was of course Batman is fake. I get all that. There's so many other.
Yeah, and so the jet bike in theory, in practice, not a good
Yeah,
idea.
but my question was, how hot did that jet bike get, and how fast does it drink whatever it's
Right.
gasoline or whatever?
Faster than this quarter-mile track.
Because he took off. I mean, he jumped and went fast. I'm like, damn, it's a fast bike. So my thing is,
Okay,
how hot did it get?
He's got a jet turbine Chrysler. They only made about 2 or 3 of them. They made very, very few.
But you're
of
sitting in a cockpit on a jet bike. You're on
this,
the actual
this looks
bike.
like a Thunderbird.
Oh, yeah?
This looks like a Thunderbird. It's got the big round lights. And that's how you can tell us. These lights might be about that big around. One light on each side. And then this monster exhaust.
turbine in the back.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
think
but I
I've seen
haven't seen
pictures
him
of
do
it.
the jet thing. But I mean, he has just about everything on wheels that there is. And boy, it is so amazing. I subscribe to his YouTube video. I watch him. I'd watch him 3 times a week if I could, because he's that interesting.
Yeah.
And when he burned himself and was gone for a while, I actually missed him. And I don't know what's going to happen when he goes. I mean, he's very close in age to myself. I mean, I think I'm 75. I think he's 70 or 73 or something. Anyway, he's right there. And he may even be a little bit older. I don't know. But I do, you go to 80, 85, 90. How far does it go,
Yeah.
Do you drink water? Do you drink alcohol? Or do you, what do you do?
That's
You know?
awesome.
But Jay Leno is definitely, that was the name popped right to my head.
I get it.
Now, the question was about celebrity crushes, though.
But yeah, I kind of changed it. What
you
would
kind
you
of
talk
changed
about?
the subject.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, but
no.
If I had a crush,
No, he changed it around, but
I would almost say Steve McQueen if there was such a thing as a crush. I mean,
Really?
Steve McQueen, oh my God, not just Bullet, but then he played with.
this is becoming a theme here on the
Cars.
No, this was a bank thing with Faye Dunaway.
What was the name of the movie? It was
They've reenacted it. Pierce Bronson did it once. It's been reenacted like 3 times. It's where this high-end gentleman pulls like a bank robbery, or like with Pierce Bronson, he pulls an art
but he needs her to pull it off somehow.
And what's so interesting is at the very end of that movie, she's torn between, does she really want to catch him, or does she really want to go off to a life of being with him? Because she thinks she's got him cold. Right. She thinks she's got him dead, cold.
Kind of sounds like The Saint with Val Kilmer, The Saint.
Yeah.
Kind of a similar plot.
Yeah, I could talk about movies all day. I haven't seen the one you're talking about, but
I haven't seen that either.
Oh, Faye Dunaway and Steve McQueen. Just Google Faye Dunaway and Steve McQueen, and it'll come right up. Trust me. I mean, hell, we're not talking about that old, for Christ's sake.
Well, like, who's our audience, man?
Right, who's our audience?
Apparently, this is like the old man show tonight.
I gotta tell you, my grandkids are asking me more and more about music.
Okay, I was gonna guess this movie, the Thomas Crown Affair.
Yeah, the Thomas Crown Affair.
Oh,
so
I've heard
I saw
the name, but I have
the
not
Pierce
seen
Bronson one. Yeah, I saw that one.
It was done before with Steve.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
So
but it came right up, didn't it? Steve McQueen.
Well, they also did the Towering Inferno, and they did. Yeah.
Well, the Towering Inferno was terrible, though.
Is it racist or is it sexist to say she was a hottie?
No.
Not at all.
Man, she played.
But isn't the Towering Inferno where they got Die Hard from? Is that the same?
Well, no.
I think there's like 3 or 4 different 91 movies that are all blurring together into the same miasma of crap that was the Towering Inferno lava flow down the Hollywood strip or whatever.
I have to look it up, but I think
I feel like RoboCop was in there too. Like he was a part of that.
I'll tell you what, who
for some reason, and there was Sly Stallone. And, it was just all bad.
I've told Chris time and time again, I'm not good with names or dates or.
I'm not good with dates. I'm good with names and who played in it.
My brain doesn't compute that very well.
But yeah, what year it came out, I could not tell you that. But
I could tell you what year it was just by the cinematography.
Really?
Yeah, man, I can tell you just by the way it was shot and what people are,
Oh yeah.
It's
I remember
like a
when
70s,
was
like
one
especially nowadays when you're used to like 2023 production. When you see a 70s color filter, you know know it's from the 70s.
You can tell it's from the 70s. You can tell.
Know it from the 80s too. You know it's from the 80s. Just it has a very specific color, texture too. Like the film they used back then had a specific texture. You could tell. Anyway, you already know these things. You just subconsciously know these things. Like if you see a video from the 80s, you know it's from the 80s based off of the tape that they used to record it. You can tell that it's from the 80s. You don't know that per se, why you know it's from the 80s, but it is.
I laugh to myself because if you ever go back and watch any 70s and 80s movies, a lot of the plot could be fixed with a cell phone.
Right.
Today's cell phone, if you had that in those movies, are like solve the problem.
Oh, and the way they change camera angles and the way they the totally different approach to filmmaking nowadays than the way they did it back then. Like there's more filmmaking knowledge that goes into that Dell commercial that we just watched than they knew back then. Like they didn't know all that about making films. Like they didn't.
The whole thing about the newest Star Wars is being practical versus being now a lot of stuff is animated. So they was like, man, when J.J. Abrams came out with Force Awakens, I was like, he tried to put it as much practical in it as possible.
Right, because he was trying to be the opposite of what George Lucas was doing.
George
did both the practical and the CGI.
Yeah.
He pioneered the practical and he pioneered the CGI, and then he was like, "Here, you
you take the book and run with it."
Yeah, and then so far nobody's been able to run with it like Like, it's
Yeah,
his.
there's some movies that I hope they never remake.
Right.
And it's not even about.
Now, I got no problem with adding to Star Wars. Adding to Star Wars, great. But you can't take, like, the original trilogy is a masterpiece that it is, you know. But it's a whole universe that you can add characters and add stories.
It's a vast universe. There's only about 4 or 5 people that they really focus on.
Right,
no.
in those movies.
Yeah.
And then now you can, make up, I read fan fiction when I was a kid, too.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, like, authors would write whole novels of, based in that universe. And,
So, yeah, there's certain movies in my eyes that they should never remake, they should never recast, they should never do.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do it probably anyway.
Such as?
I can give you a list. They should never touch the Back to the Future series.
Okay.
Let that go.
Yeah.
It's great as it is.
Right.
Don't try to redo it at all.
Because it's so 80s, if you tried to redo it, it wouldn't be right.
They would lose the magic that it had.
Right. It was a creature of its era.
Yeah.
The DeLorean and all.
Yeah.
It really was magical.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
the Van Halen music, everything.
Yeah.
Everything about it.
Huey Lewis in the News. So yeah, even the fact that it was set in the 80s. He went back to was it 50s when he met his parents.
Right.
And then they went to the westerns, went even further back. So even that you did that, yeah, you can think in your mind, oh, we can take this anywhere and go to any century or any decade.
No,
you can't. Just leave it as is.
Because who are you going to replace Michael J. Fox
Exactly.
with? Because we all loved it because of Michael J. Fox. That's the reason we watched was because of Michael J. Fox. And then you replace him with somebody else, it'd be like replacing Han Solo. And they tried that. And, no matter how good the writing is, that's not Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
That's not the real deal.
I have the same thing about the Goonies. You can't redo the Goonies. They should never be a part 2, 3, 4. Leave the Goonies as it is you can never redo it.
That's funny. I was driving to school the other day, and somebody put a sign on the side of the road, Goonies never die.
Yeah. It's such a cult classic that
it is a cult classic, and then only somebody like me would be like, ha, cool,
yeah,
man.
Exactly.
Cool.
Even though they did a part 2, you can't touch the Blues
they
Brothers.
They didn't do a part 2.
No, nothing about the Blues Brothers. You can't do a part.
They didn't do a part 2 on that.
Yeah.
It ended with the car wreck.
Yeah. So my thing is, you can't. There's certain movies you just can't touch. They're too good as they are.
They set the record, like how many
car crashes and stuff.
I think it's still the record.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think I looked at.
They wrecked like 70 different Crown Victorias or something for just the one shot.
Yeah.
Where they just pile up all the cop cars and because they had nothing but practical effects, right?
Yeah.
Like nowadays, there's no way in hell you're gonna convince some dude to let you wreck 70 cars on his property for any amount of money, because the EPA is going to come and be like, test the soil, and be like, no, we're not doing that, man. We're like, well,
it was a time of its own, and it can't be replaced or it can't be duplicated.
Yeah, take that to a film studio today. We're like, all right, we need to wreck 70 cars. They're like, okay, we got you. All right,
CGI.
We're going to CGI
the whole thing.
the way, and it's going to cost a fraction of what it costs to wreck all those cars. It's going to be more spectacular too, because
explosions and
we can add stuff,
and
we like. Physics in reality really aren't as impressive as they are when before we get to the editing floor.
And here's what's never gonna die is the Fast and Furious movies. Those things are never gonna die. Yeah. Jumping from building to buildings and off of trains and like what the hell? What else you can think about?
So they used to sell movies like that at Walmart in the $5 bin, but now that's a Blockbuster.
Dude, I found recently, well, not recently, about a year ago, I found my Blockbuster card. In an old wallet.
How in the world?
I said, all right, everybody calm down. I finally found it. Blockbuster card. Those used to be the nights. You walk around the store for 3 hours looking for something to watch.
Yeah. So that was one of our weekly rituals when I was a kid. It was like pizza night, and we'd go to Blockbuster. And everybody, there were 3 kids, and each of the kids get to pick a movie, and then mom and dad picked their movie, of course. And it was a whole family thing. You go, you get a movie, and you get some food, and blah blah blah. And I feel like most families were like that at least once a month.
You know what I wish I could have patented? when it first came out. Okay, remember Redbox came out and everybody would go to Redbox and rent a movie that way? Like a vending machine for movies.
Right, which was revolutionary at the time. Too bad technology just deleted that whole...
Well, see, here's what I wish I would have done when it first came out. Let's say, for example, every time somebody orders a pizza, they normally sit down for a movie.
Right.
Okay, or any type of food.
Or a ball game or something.
Yeah, so I thought to myself, why don't you put those vending machines inside of a van? So then, when a pizza is delivered, walk out to the van and get your movie, and now you're eating pizza and watch the movie.
Smart.
That would have been adding two, like you ever see a Taco Bell and a KFC in the same building? They're adding two different companies in the same...
So they used to have like partnerships like that with Blockbuster and pizza places. Like they would be in the same mall. Yeah. There would be the Blockbuster.
But see, like I said, technology will change. So you got to think about how can you change with the technology. So why don't you put that? If somebody's going to deliver a pizza to your house anyway, let's watch a movie at the same time. So why don't you put the machine in a van? And so that way you're renting a movie and watching, eating
or
pizza.
We could just render the physical disc obsolete with a Wi-Fi connection. And
now it is. Everything's streaming now.
So you can stream whatever you want.
But, everything is you jump in and get your money and jump out because, there's, technology's going to change it.
Right. And
so that's a twofer.
Yeah.
I was able to have a twofer for the Blockbusters. Not only could you go to Blockbuster, and we only got one film at a time. We always, whatever the newest film was, as soon as it came out, we were there. But we got to ride the Harley to the Blockbuster.
Right.
And usually we were in a part of Chicago that was pretty easy to get around. But just to be able to blast, because of course we kept the Harley in the house.
Yeah.
So, we'd go right through the living room door, right in and out. And, the TV was right there. And we actually did an audio of the Harley. This was a 1000 with solids. I don't think it actually even weighed 300 pounds. Anyway, it was wicked racing bacon. My son made he had to do a project at high school. It was like a sales thing, and he had to come up with something to sell, So he decided he was going to sell these Pop-Tarts.
Yeah?
Yeah, Pop-Tarts were real big back in the... It was like the late 80s or so,
No, they're amazing little inventions.
Well, anyway, Pop-Tarts
single serve little toaster pastry things that your kids are gonna love this.
So we get these Pop-Tarts and they start out this he starts out, he walks up he has to speak in front of the class.
Yeah.
He walks up to the podium and he goes, I wake up every morning and jump into the clothes. Then I go to the kitchen and I get my Oreos. And then he goes, oh, we're out of Pop-Tarts. So I have to jump on my Harley and run into town. And all of a sudden, and he's got this portable.
Y'all didn't sell this jingle to the. Come on, man.
That's hilarious.
He's got this.
Who makes that? Kellogg's.
This
Kellogg's make
portable, recorder with him.
This little boombox.
And he turns the boombox on, and he's got the volume set, and he hits the play button, and you hear this. In the middle of the classroom, you hear this Harley Davidson. The classroom is going crazy. The teacher's in the back of the classroom, and the class is going nuts over this because he's got the volume cranked up so high. Teachers start screaming and hollering, shut that off. That's not the way we were supposed to. That's not what you were supposed to do. And he gave him an F for the project.
Really?
Wow.
So
sounds like
this was a morning class. Okay, this is morning class. By noon, by lunchtime, the whole school has heard about the Harley Davidson and JD. And everybody's going, it's the greatest thing they've ever heard. It's the greatest audio they've ever heard. They can't believe it. So, of course, JD comes home that night and he tells me, and of course, I'm always sticking up for my kids. So, I go to the school the next day. I go right to the counselor's office, and I said, we got a problem. I said, this counselor gave my child a F for a project that maybe you've even heard. I think most of the school has heard about the Harley Davidson recording.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, he wanted to laugh and chuckle, but he didn't dare because he knew where this was going. And anyway, we got it straightened out.
First of all, it's creative. I like that.
Right, so he's already demonstrated more than what
the rest of the class would have done.
Right.
Yeah.
The rest of the class would have been a typical, presentation.
Oh, and he wasn't the first one. He was like on the second or third day because this was one of those ongoing class projects.
In those type of presentation scenarios, I always like to go either first or last and nothing in between. First off, I can either get it done and I can get out of I can just go home.
Right.
And second off, I want to be last so I can have the best project. Because if I'm last, dude, I know all of y'all. I know all the competition's little tricks. I know all
there's a sweet spot that is usually in the middle or toward the end of just any type of thing that you. Okay, I'm talking as a comedian right now. So a lot of comedians don't want to go first because it's really hard to kind of control the whole audience.
Well, same with musicians.
Get them to pay
same
attention.
With musicians. Yeah.
First, second, third, depends on how many people on the show.
Right.
But by the time it gets right to the sweet spot, which is the middle, a little bit toward the end, everybody's paying attention. They want to know who's next. They want to say, okay, I want to pay attention to this guy. This guy seems funny. But if you get the very last person, a lot of times, not that you've lost the audience, but you've heard so many comedians go by.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, here was one more. So, yeah, I never want to go last. Not never want to go last, but I always want to find that sweet spot in the middle that you right want to fit in.
Makes sense.
Yeah. All right, another question. We got to pause it and go to the next show.
Yeah. So
is it time?
We are there.
To at least, go to the next show we do.
All right. I could use a little water.
Yep, I'm going to get some water, too. Cups over there.
I should have had one picked out,
But, yeah, I'm really looking forward to next week. Next week's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Is Will going to be able to make it?
Yep. I let him know, and he's going to make it.
You'll have to talk to Matt.
Yeah.
See if he can make time.
I will. He should be good to go.
So 5 is a good number?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. We were just talking about how many microphones we're going to get everything set up.
Right.
Cool.
Here's a
go
good
home
one.
and make your own dinner? Or do you have family that you sit down and eat dinner with, or?
Yeah. Okay. My son lives with me in my house, and so normally it's about us. But beyond that, yeah, it depends on as a single person, it's hard to make a dinner that won't last but just one meal. It usually lasts 2 or 3 days. Depends on what it is, I guess.
Right. You say if you ordered a pizza, that'd be 3 days worth of eating just by yourself, right?
Yeah, it depends on the pizza though.
But fair.
So yeah, being in Nashville, thin crust has been more of my style. But back in Chicago, it's more about the deep dish.
Mm-hmm.
At Uno's, we would actually get one of each.
Yeah.
We would go, and we would get a sausage deep dish, and usually get and of course then get a thin crust, and it would be half of something and half of something else. But what we would enjoy, particularly at Uno's, is they have a family salad dish. It's perfect for 4 people, and they make their own fresh dressing. I've had their salad time and time and again. It's always the same. when you sit down at the table, it has this amazing flavor. But when you take it home, for whatever reason, all the spices in it don't interact as well as when it's fresh.
Yeah.
Almost like there's a lemon, there's a vinegar, there's something in there that turns it almost more of a bitter than a great salad dressing, you know.
Mm.
So I bought them because they sell everybody loves their dressing. Anyway, you go to Uno's, get their house dressing. Get their house dressing and their house salad. And then get a thin crust and get a deep dish and you'll be fine.
And a pitcher of some. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah, I mean, Uno's, I don't know, some people like Lou Malinetti's actually is actually even probably better than Uno's.
I used to be a big fan of Home Run Inn Pizza. Remember that from Chicago?
Sure, of course, frozen.
And then, but no, go to a restaurant and eat it there.
Oh.
I don't like the frozen as much.
Well,
I'll eat
frozen.
it. Yeah.
Same thing with Uno's, same thing with Lou Malinetti's. You can get Lou Malinetti's right now over the internet. Sausage, whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't taste the same. It just isn't the same.
Yeah.
Come on, it's not fresh ingredients.
Because my thing is, I heard that Home Run Inn was doing frozen like it did it in Nashville. I'm like, what, really? So I went to go try it, and I'm like, nah, this is not the same. It's same ingredients, same whatever, but it's just not the same.
They sell them at Aldi sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, it's not the same. Where were you at? Where were you situated? Where you were getting these? What was your
the
location?
frozen ones are
no, in the city of Chicago.
Well, I got family and cousins all over Chicago, so
but where
Evanston, Illinois.
Evanston, huh?
Uh-huh.
Howard Street.
Yep.
Howard Street.
So there you go. All right.
Well, of course, Howard, Peterson. Come on, Dempster. Jesus Christ, this is my town. That's my city. Okay, I used to hitchhike.
But y'all
from Des Plaines down to Howard Street because the L ended at Howard Street.
Y'all expatriates.
Most people don't know that.
You're expats. You're expats and can't
admit
it.
You gotta live in the city to know.
Can't admit it.
And the north side is Howard Street. The L tracks ended right there at Howard.
I love to see Florida quarterback get sacked. Sorry,
No. And for a quarter, you could go all the way to the south side. Took you to about 65th.
Yeah.
And I was at 68th and Hermitage when I was living on the south side.
Okay.
And then when I was on the north side, I was at 58th and Sheridan Road, the outer drive. And then a couple places in between, Foster Avenue. Foster Avenue was kind of a bitch because the fucking traffic, the goddamn, and it's the buses. I mean, Jesus, you get on, Toohey, Damon, Foster, Milwaukee Avenue. Get on any of those streets, it just, they need to make more one-way streets because, like Toohey, all of those, Foster, it doesn't matter, Oakton, Dempster, it didn't matter, any of those east-west streets. If you made more one-way streets, some of those streets, instead of having one-way traffic with a bus pulling off, you could have 3 full lanes and gain an extra lane of traffic moving in a direction. Instead of having just one lane going this way and one lane going this way, you could actually have 3 lanes flowing this way.
Yeah.
And they haven't figured that out in Chicago yet.
Or even if they did, you got to grease the right palms to make it happen.
Yeah.
Chicago is just deteriorating rapidly. I mean, just the mayor has no grasp. The last mayor left the city in a shambles. The Bears are going to move out. No, it's not safe.
The Bears are moving?
Nordstrom's, all the stores along the Golden Strip there, all of that's moving out. Everybody's moving out. Hell, the Walmarts are moving. They already moved out. There's not a Walmart left in the in the hard Chicagoland area.
I think this would be
6 of them out.
This would be
Close the stores.
a great subject for our next episode, because I think this is all economic.
Yeah.
There's economic roots for this dysfunction, and we can get to the bottom of it. You know.
With that being said, love, peace, and hair grease. We're out. We're gonna do another episode. You'll get some more water. What are you drinking? Water?
Yeah, water.
Yep. So I'm getting some more water. So peace out. See you for the next one.
Oh, you were recording all that?
Yeah.